the Battle of the Brewers rages on in Nigeria, an estimated $1.5 billion has been invested in capacity additions. Now, analysts predict that the industry is on course to beat estimates of 26 million hectoliters of production levels and demand by 2015. Now, Guinness Nigeria is staying ahead of the game, announcing plans to invest $335.8 million on expanding its brewing capacity in the country this year. Now, joining me in the studio to give us more on the sector and, of course, its plans for the second half of the year is Seni Adetu. He's the CEO at Guinness Nigeria. Great to have you in the studio, Seni.
Thank you, Uche.
Now, like we said earlier, the brewery sector is certainly on course to beat estimates. Certainly those capacity constraints we saw early this year are no more problem, as we're hearing a lot about expansion. Now, what's your take on this? Are we on course to beat estimates?
Well, absolutely. We announced a couple of years ago at Guinness Nigeria an investment of 52 billion naira into capacity upgrade in our two breweries in Ogba and Benin. I'd like to say that we're well advanced in terms of the progress on that. We've completed a phase one of the two-phase plan. And the thinking is that even though we've had a challenging first half of the year in Nigeria, characterized by heightened security concerns, fuel strike actions, and all of that, we still believe that the headroom for growth within that sector is massive. And that's why we're really investing ahead of the curve.
Now, certainly it seems Guinness is ready to play the game in the Battle of the Brewers, what we call the Battle of the Brewers. Now, you recently announced that, told us that actually you're planning to launch a new brand that is going to focus on the female demographic here in Nigeria. Can you tell us more about that?
I mean, our thinking is that with the upgraded capacity, we need to create scalable innovations that connect with our consumers and at the same time help us fill our capacity. So the brand that we'll be launching in a couple of days is a female-targeted brand, which is a refreshing, fruit-flavored alcoholic beverage that is targeted at the sophisticated, classy, sort of independent African woman, Nigerian woman, aged between 18 and 34. I don't want to say too much about it because we are looking to unveil it on Saturday.
Oh, that's great. So Saturday, we're going to hear more about that launching of that new brand. But let's talk about your expansion plans. You recently announced that Guinness is launching a 52 billion naira expansion plan. How far have you gone with this? Suddenly, I think you're on your second phase now. That's
correct. We're on our second phase. Our first phase was to have been completed last November. Like I said earlier, we actually completed that ahead of schedule. Within budget. We're well advanced into the second phase now. And the thinking is that over the next 2, 3, 4 years, we should have enough capacity that would more than meet the demand that we have anticipated within the sector.
Now, off the cuff, I mean, I just recall talking to an analyst earlier today. They did mention that there's some speculation that Guinness may be set to be bought by SAB Miller in the next 5 to 10 years. Is there any truth in this speculation? Could that be on the table?
It's the first time I'm hearing this. Certainly, we are confident in our business strategy. I can't imagine that any business will be looking to acquire me now because I'm actually out really growing shares and really exploiting the potential within the sector. So it's the first time I'm hearing this, to be honest.
Okay, so obviously that isn't, it's not very true.
I'm the chief executive of Guinness Nigeria
yes,
PLC.
And if you
I
say
say to you, I have not even read it. It's the first time I'm hearing this.
Great. Okay, well, let's talk about the challenges. I know the sector has faced a lot of challenges recently in terms of distribution costs. Certainly, we have a high interest rate environment. How has this also impacted sort of the trickle down to the customer? Have we seen any major price increases in terms of your product lines?
Oh, you're right. We've seen some cost pressures in the sector coming through from worsening inflationary trends as well as high interest rates. And in fact, when I spoke to the investment that we're making, some of it is being financed obviously through lease financing, and therefore we're having to incur interest rates. The good thing is that by virtue of the strength of our brands, the equity of our brands, and the adoration that the brands enjoy with the consumers, we're able to pass on some of these costs to the consumers in a way that will not destroy value for the shareholders, as well as not hinder our ability to grow our brands. So yes, we've seen price increases in the past. I reckon that going into the future, as the cost pressures continue, we might also have to take some pricing.
Now, certainly distribution costs also been a problem, of course, with the tension going on in the north. Now, there have been also talk of the fact that distributors are jumping ship. Is there any truth to that? And certainly, what's your strategy to manage those distribution costs?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, we want our distributors to be safe. I talked about the security concerns in parts of the country, especially in the north. So what we are doing is to sort of re-strategize around distribution by way of appointing local distributors to manage some of our depots and the operations in the marketplace. But we haven't seen any jumping of ship by distributors, other than the fact that the security concerns have made everybody sort of rethink how we go to market. We had to, you would have seen from our results in F12 that the distribution costs went up. That was primarily because we had to do some inter-depot operations on account of the worsening security issues that we had to face. We're hoping that as that settles down, then the impact on distribution costs will be less hurtful.
Now, give me your outlook on Guinness, not only in terms of the company going forward, but also in terms of your stock price. Certainly, you released results. The stock price is performing quite well. What is your outlook going into the second half of the year for the company and also for in terms of the market?
Well, the first thing to say is that it's early days. Our financial year runs from July to June, so we're only in the third month of our financial year. We are confident that our F13, the new financial year, will be significantly better than the F12. Now, as to how we finish the year is at this point in time still sort of uncertain because it's sort of early days. A lot hinges on how the consumer economy shapes up. But the reality is that we're confident that we have the right business strategy. So we want to continue to win with our brands through our investment. I talked about innovation. We would leverage also the total beverage alcohol because we have a sister company that is into spirits. And so we want to create an advantaged route to market, manage costs even more efficiently, and so on and so forth. So all I can say is that we are confident that the business strategy is exactly the right one to exploit the opportunity that is showing up in the market.
Okay, well, thank you so much for joining us. Certainly, we'll continue to watch Guinness there. We know it's been one of the good players on the market this past few weeks, actually. Thank you so much for joining us. That was Seni Adetu. He's the CEO at Guinness Nigeria, talking to us on the company strategy moving on.